I got very lucky. I grew up in a situation where I was losing from day one. I hate things like nice guys finish last. Where? It's just not true. There's only offense and defense. There's only the force and the dark side. Never, ever be at the mercy of something else.
Want to be happy? Build a life, not just a business. Hey, it's Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So today, let's live your best belief life and learn 7 life-changing pieces of advice from Gary Vee. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with advice number 1. Have a thick skin.
I got very lucky. I grew up in a situation where I was losing from day one. We were humble immigrants. I got picked on for not speaking English. I wasn't a good student. I wasn't an excelling athlete, which allowed me to create an enormous amount of thick skin to doing things and not being scared of judgment because I was being judged from the beginning.
Do you know how obnoxiously thick my skin is when it comes to business? I don't give a f what anybody says about me or thinks of me or thinks what I'm doing.
I'm willing to go work picking up garbage right now. Right now. It just doesn't seem so crazy to me. People get fancy. I'm still doing the shit that got me here, even though people think I got somewhere. You may think I got somewhere. I don't think I'm somewhere. I'm still in the same process.
Advice number 2, be dangerous in everything.
Never, ever be at the mercy of something else. It's why I'm the best at my craft. I don't even want to be at the mercy of my own employees. It's why I got my hands in absolutely everything. What if they quit? What if they get sick? What if they get bored? What if they win the lottery? That's literally how I think about everything. That's why I'm in everything. I don't micromanage, but I'm dangerous enough in everything because I don't want a point of failure. Your point of failure is called Google. They literally change it, no matter how evergreen and white hat you've been, they just might decide that video content is part of their macro strategy.
Competitor has videos apparently.
So what I always think is when you got something working, always have a nest egg of 20% of your money and energy of building up other things that if God forbid your 80 goes to 0, you're on the course of being okay.
Advice number 3, surround yourself with positivity.
I believe one of the great ways to mix things up is what you listen to and who you surround yourself with. I'm unbelievably passionate about people finding more optimistic, practical friends. And I think optimism can slide into delusion, which is why I say optimistical, practical. There's only offense and defense. There's only the force and the dark side, right? And I think that right now a lot of people are choosing to be driven by fear and negativity without realizing it. And so if you're listening right now, my biggest thing is start leaning into a little bit more of optimism and positivity.
Also, if you want to have more self-love, confidence, and motivation, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
We are strong as shit. We're really f***ing strong. We're just being sold that we're not because there's a lot of money. In a success world, please understand that success is happiness, not net dollars in. My ability to only be comfortable in massive chaos has been my biggest asset as an entrepreneur. Like, I would never take a note. Like, that scares the piss out of me what these 3 people are doing right now.
Advice number 4, play outside the rules.
I hate things like nice guys finish last. Where? It's just not true. Nice guys might be losing at halftime, but they win the game. Nice guys always win. It's just so crazy, all this fodder in the system that isn't true. All the faking it till you make it as a fashion brand that's a lead, or at what every single 23-year-old male in the world is doing, which is fronting on Instagram because boys want girls, you know? And so like, I'm just unbelievably passionate in trying to, what I realized about myself was, oh shit, The reason I won and I'm good is I've never played in the vortex. I've never played in the actual rules of life. I was an F student when every immigrant was supposed to be an A student because education was the way out. I launched an e-commerce wine business in 1996, right? Like that wasn't what I have a f***ing sneaker. Thanks for wearing them. Like I've always done things that don't make sense. I play outside of the actual game, and that has been where all my happiness has come from. And so many things have become obvious to me by playing outside of the rules. Playing outside of the rules is the best. And that's where I want people to understand we are pandering to so many things that just aren't true.
Advice number 5, give value for free.
I'm an aspiring chef. I'm in culinary school right now. I'm trying to make a side hustle sharpening knives.
I love this idea. I'm gonna give you a tremendous piece of advice that too many people that are ideological and don't actually play in the game push against, but I believe in it the most. You should go sharpen knives for 5 restaurants for free.
For free, okay.
Yep. Like I spoke for free for the first 13, no, actually I got paid for the first one because that's how it also, for 13 of the first 15 times I ever spoke, I spoke for free, including paying for my flights. It's one thing to do free work, it's another thing to do free work with heavy strategy. When I do free work, I try to think of 2 things. How much exposure is it? Like Tyler will tell you, sitting right here, one of the only times I still do free work is if it's massive exposure. There are 49,000 people in the audience. I'm like, it's a lot of exposure. You know, like it's live on, it's during the Super, like I'll pay somebody to put me in a Super Bowl commercial, right? Like when I get exposure, and that's where I'm at now. For you, when you pick these 5 restaurants, let it be the biggest restaurants in your 30-mile radius. Let it be the kindest. Let it be somebody who has the biggest Instagram following, and maybe like whether you never want to give with expectation, but it's okay to ask. You're like, hey, I'd love to sharpen your knives for free, and then like you get in there and the vibes are feeling good. Maybe you're like, hey, listen, like I hope you enjoyed it. Like, wouldn't mind to take a picture for my Instagram, which then makes them say, oh, we'll put you on our Instagram. Like you can be thoughtful and do it the right way, but if nothing else, if you do it for free for 5 people, you've established that you do it. Word of mouth is a remarkably fascinating thing. Strategic free work is one of the great moves in our society.
Advice number 6, be people-centric.
People are always like, I can't get my cashiers to like work because they're only $12 an hour. I'm like, no, it's because you've never said hello to them, face. Right? So like I'm very people-centric. I think there's enormous ROI, either in the short term or the long term. Some of the people that work for me, Iris may go on to win an Academy Award as a filmmaker, right? Like I'd much rather have her like me than not like me. And everybody's playing short term. I don't live as if tomorrow I'm gonna die, and I'm stunned by how many people do. It's all short term ROI. Every decision is short term ROI, and I think that's a huge decision. So internally, I spend a lot of time and money. My HR department, too big. My time that I spend with employees, too much. This is what I hear from all my business associates, who then spend all their time asking me how I do it. Your employees, for me, it's my employees first, then the customer, then I can even begin to think about what the fuck's in it for me. And I've just watched 95% of the businesses I interact with start with them, then the customer, then their employees. I think that most of the people are broken, and I think if you're honest, no bullshit, right? If it just went through your mind like, I am me, then customer, then my employees, you will lose. And I can tell you that's the majority of businesses.
And advice number 7, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is be practical.
How many hands work somewhere but want to do their own thing? Raise your hands. More than half this audience. Meanwhile, let me tell you why most of the hands that just went up will never get there. They buy dumb shit. Do you know how many people here literally drive cars to impress people that they hate? People literally going in debt or getting further from leaving the job they don't like to do something that will make them happy because they have to buy a certain car that has a logo that impresses people that they despise. Do you understand how up that is? Do you know how many people here live in homes where they don't use more than half the rooms in the house? Like, we are so fundamentally in a vortex that makes no sense
that I am unbelievably passionate understanding how much money you make and what you can do to get off of it. But the problem is, again, people are doing so many things to keep up with the Joneses, to make it look like they're successful, to appease their parents, and a million other things that have nothing to do with themselves. And we need to change that game. Do you understand how crazy it is that if you went to the clearance aisles of your 5 biggest retailers in Australia, bought things on clearance, went home, relisted it, and posted on eBay, that the far majority of this audience could make between $50,000 to $100,000 a year just on doing that for 9 to 10 hours a day? Meanwhile, everybody's sitting here with the next big app that's gonna be the next Uber for lawnmowers. The thing that has made me successful far more than my passion or my energy is my disproportionate practicality. Most people want to look the part of an entrepreneur that came up with the next Supreme or Adidas brand or the next Uber or Facebook, yet are $40,000 in debt, working a job that they hate, and literally, if they went to the 5 discount stores that dominate this market, buy things on clearance, go home, take a picture with their phone and upload to eBay, and then when people buy it, go to the post office and ship it, they would be able to get out of debt and get into a financial place. But people don't want to do that because they don't want to be judged for that being their hustle. Most people in this room and this world would rather lose looking like they're doing something successful than win and be judged for doing something that seems dorky.
Now I've got a special bonus clip from Gary on how to understand time that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1, where do you need to have a thicker skin? Number 2, how can you surround yourself with more positivity? And number 3, what value can you give away for free this week? And if you made it this far in a video and you promise, you commit to take action after watching it, give me a hashtag believe down in the comments as well. I want to celebrate you.
My friends, this is a remarkably special time, and I'm completely convinced the far majority, and I mean 99% of this room, is going to regret it. I'm completely convinced about it. It's not fun for me to say that, but it's very obvious to me that humans take for granted and are really bad at perspective and timing. The reason I push patience, how many people here are under 30? Raise your hands. Stand up if you're under 30. Don't be a dick, stand up. Let's first of all clap it up for all the youngsters in the room. Keep standing. You're young, you're not tired yet. If you're standing right now, you really have to, let's get into perspective and actual understanding. If you're standing right now, with the way that modern medicine is actually evolving, there is a very high percentage that you're gonna live 3 more lives that you've already lived, if not 5. Do you understand why I struggle when people give up on shit a year or 2 in, or are upset that they haven't gotten there yet 3 years in, when you faces are about to live 4 more lives? I'm being serious. You're literally gonna live 4 more lives, 5 more, from the day you were born that you cannot remember to right this second, you're about to do that 3 to 4 more times. You can sit. Literally, your biggest advantage is timing. For all the great things that I have in my life, I would literally give it up, all of it, just to be 25. I would give up for 17 years, I'd give up everything I have, because that's how valuable time is. And the far majority of this room has time as their asset, and every day, the number 1 asset they have, time, they give away by being impatient, mainly on the back of listening to society or their parents that they have to have their shit figured out at this age. The fact that people actually think at 18, 22, or 30, you have to have your shit figured out is ridiculous. Let me promise you, all those parents and uncles and grandparents that push down your throat that you have to figure it out by now, they still haven't figured it the out. I mean it. So this nonsense, this
nonsense that you have to have it figured out at 18, 22, 30. You know how many people freak the out at 30? How many people are 30 right now? That was crazy, right? Like, people lose their at 30. Like, meanwhile, they're a kid. And so I'm unbelievably aware lately that one of the, people are always like, why do you win? And I talk about my parents and not coming from anything. But the more that I live, I'm like, the reason I really win is because I understand time. And listen, I know I can get hit by a bus or get terminally ill. I get it. Here's the problem. That's far more unlikely for the majority of us. The math works in your favor, and we are stunningly not patient. Patience has been the foundation of my success. Patience, adversity, these are the foundations of my success.
Evan, thank you so much for having a couple seconds and being able to tell the Believe Nation a little bit about Empathy Wines. It means a lot to me that you would take this valuable real estate and time on your channel to give me some love. It means a lot. It's just good karma points, and so you're awesome. Thank you. Believe Nation, if you're into wine at all, go to empathywines.com. My whole career's work was poured into producing a wine that rivaled $40 to $60 wine for $20 a bottle. I'm just super excited about this subscription-based wine business. You can order 3, 6, or 12 bottles in subscription form, rosé, white, red. If you search on Instagram or Twitter, you will be blown away. People are literally like, I don't even like Gary Vee, but the wine's good. Super proud of the effort. Thanks, Evan, for the time. Wishing you guys all happy and healthy.
If you want to see the 10 best pieces of advice for new entrepreneurs, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
What would have happened if the fourth one hadn't worked?
We would have failed.
Yeah.
But let's talk about one of the failures were spectacular.